5 minutes with it. All right. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I'm going to give you the logic behind what a lot of people are thinking on it or potentially thinking on it. And third, I'm going to give you my feelings. All right. So, 4 days prior to him being killed, and I'm just going to call it what it is, he was killed. He was murdered. I hate this whole term, everybody. He was assassinated. Shh, shh, shh. He got killed just like any other individual gets killed in situations. He's not of that. That to me, the word assassination means that you're going after a large political figure who actually is in the realm of that quote unquote status, I guess. John F. Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, assassinated, Hundo. I mean, Martin Luther King, because of what he was doing, because of the reach he had the world over. Now, Charlie Kirk had a reach the world over, but it wasn't, nah. It's not the same. Not on the same level, nowhere near close to it, no matter how many people want to fucking try and make it seem otherwise. But let me go ahead and first give you my thoughts. I was asked by one person, said, "Hey, have you heard about the Charlie Kirk situation?" The next person asked me, "Has anyone there, as in Japan, said anything about the Charlie Kirk situation?" First and foremost, most people here don't give a damn. He was here, like I said, 4 days prior to his death. All right. And what he was doing, of course, was, sowing the seed of dissent into, or trying to sow the seed of dissent into the Japanese community through that group, Sanseito, which I've spoken to you guys about before. Funny enough, the day after, or was it 2 days after? No, it was the day after because that was the day I was asked the question. Had anyone here said anything about it? I ended up going out and I'm walking down by the station and I start hearing someone, I mean, yelling and just saying stupid, stupid things. And so I stop and I watch as every person. And let me tell you right now, this station is non-stop all day long. Lots of people set up there to do performances. Lots of people set up there to do political speeches and things like that because the politicians actually go out on the streets here to get their message across. This kid was out here for Sanseto. Not one soul stopped to hear the ridiculousness he was saying, except me. And I walked up and I stood listening as he pronounced all the issues that foreigners cause, directing a lot of it towards one specific group of foreigners. But as he saw me stand there, he choked on his words. And when I say he choked on his words, I mean he literally choked on his words. I wanted to pull my phone out and record, but he had someone standing there who was recording, and I hoped that I caught it on YouTube, like magically, or even looked it up on X, because normally when those types of events and things like that go on, they post it on X, and I could easily search it. Couldn't find it. But as I'm standing there and I'm listening, and I'm literally laughing and just like, this guy's a this guy's a moron. He started choking on his words to the point where he stopped. And I'm looking at him And he looked at me for a second, but there's this thing about people here, and I've said this before. Being brought up the way that I was brought up, growing up in multiple countries, having three different distinct ethnic backgrounds to me, I was brought up in each one of them. But the one that stands out when people do ignorant things, which one do you think that is? It is my goddamn American side. And I stood there as he fucking was choking on his words, and I stared him down so much that he had to turn his head. Because people here, they have this thing where they won't be direct. If they say something and they say something smarmy, they say something ignorant, they say something foul, and you catch them and call them out on it, holy shit. It's a back down situation. The only time anyone ever dares to even try and keep it going is because they think you're afraid of getting in trouble. But then when people learn that you actually live here and you will not be kicked out of here, you could go to jail. You could go to jail for a couple of days for beating somebody's ass, but you can't get kicked out. Oh, then they realize I better shut up because he's really going to do something to me. But I stood there and just watched him as he spoke, and I'm like, a lot of the things he's saying, you can tell he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. And that's always a problem with individuals who say things that they don't know what it is they're talking about. They have no real grounding in it. But anyway, that's what happened. I actually ran into a Sanseto group, and this is literally the day after Kirk was killed. Now, my thoughts on the death of Charlie Kirk. No matter the disagreement and discussion, no matter the despicable nature of what someone says, and mind you, so many of the trash things he said not only were debunked, but he was humiliated numerous times by individuals who actually had some form of education. I saw him get battered by a student, a university student, who literally trashed every I well, not idea, but every one of his quote unquote facts that he had. It's happened to university faculty as well. But anyway, despite those things, no one deserves to be killed over verbal disagreements. This is 100% the truth. No one deserves to be killed over a verbal disagreement. No one deserves to be killed over their bigoted ideas. That's my thought on it. The logic, though, and tons of people have said this, his rhetoric actually pushed others to spread hate and even was part of the kid who went out and killed black people on the streets with an AR-15, who was released by the courts. That rhetoric that Charlie Kirk pushed, well, that kid went out and did those things based on the ideas of individuals like Charlie Kirk. It can easily be said that the choices he made put him in the situation. Kirk was a greaseball. He was a con man. He was a person who gained clout off the back of the ignorant. 100%. From that stance of logic, this was the inevitable outcome of his lifestyle and his rhetoric. This is the reward for emboldening the ignorant. It's the case of, seriously, how many times have I said this? Fuck around, find out. And to take the words of the extreme right side, where they say, well, hate speech isn't without consequences, here you go. But somehow that only applies to people who are on the quote unquote left side of things when it's spewed out of Republicans' mouths. But this is the consequence for his actions and his rhetoric, logically speaking. Because let's be realistic about it. There are too many people on this earth, especially in America, where guns are readily available and are used rampantly. There are too many people there to ever think that something like this could not happen. It is illogical, especially when you're pushing hatred the way that he was pushing hatred. Again, it's wrong, but what do you expect? Essentially, he played a game, a dangerous game, trying to brainwash and embolden the ignorant. But when I take a stance on the moral side of it, or my thoughts of it, as a person who understands right from wrong, who does have compassion when it's just to have, killing him was wrong. It was wrong. And it potentially causes so many more issues. Actually, you've already seen the issues that it's caused. It's already started. The way that the dumbest president in the history of mankind is now handling things. What did his head of the AG say? Oh, we're going to crack down on hate speech. Bitch, you can't crack down on hate speech. Hate speech is still speech. Now, here's what most of you may not know, though. There is a time when hate speech is illegal. And specifically, it is when you are committing libel, which, by the way, the President of the United States has done on numerous occasions. And in all honesty, based on the law, he could actually get sued by every fucking person on the left, on the quote unquote left, for the rhetoric that he uses because it is actually illegal. And when you are going against, or when you are committing hate speech against, what is the exact term? Oh my God, my brain. I don't remember the exact term, but it has to do with protected groups, especially anything dealing with constitutionally protected groups. And guess who did that? A lot. Charlie Kirk did. The logical side of this is that, one, you play dangerous games, you run into danger. Two, these people who are sitting here saying, oh, our Christian beliefs dictate this, this, and this, such as Charlie Kirk, are all full of shit. Because let me tell you something right now. If you're Christians, biblically, one of the golden rules to Christianity is love thy neighbor. And I'm sorry, the hatred that came out of his mouth, the hatred that comes out of a lot of individuals' mouths, and I don't care which side it is, it's not very Christian. But the right is the one that always says that they believe so heavily in Christian beliefs and all of these different things, and it's bullshit. And anyone who sits here and says, like fucking Trump and them said, oh, he's up in heaven, that man is in hell. Period. If you hold the Christian beliefs, he is in hell. Bottom line to it. That's all there is to it. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in those things, but what I will say is I grew up knowing of those things. I grew up with pastors in households. I grew up studying religion. I was born in a Catholic country, grew up with a family that was Christian. However, my family was both Zen and Shinto. When I studied psych, one of the first things that you have to go through is religion because it plays a huge role in people's day to day lives and the actions that they take. The logical outcome of the things that he did, things were getting to a boiling point. The things that he said, I think it would have been better to, yes, most definitely verbally debate and brutalize him that way. But let's be real, human beings are human beings. You put someone in a situation where they're saying grotesque things, and I think this would have been a better way to deal with it than to kill him. You want to beat the shit out of him. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm beyond getting upset over things that people say to the point to where I let them know if they open their mouth again, I'm going to knock their teeth down their throat. I'm not beyond that. Never have been, never said I was, but I'm not going to go out and shoot or kill someone for their ignorant ideas. When people approach me with ignorance, I told you guys about the situation of the racist dude who, when I lived in Arizona in America, the racist dude inside of a grocery store. He said something racist. I turned around and made a joke about the racist shit that he said, which shocked him, but then said to him right afterward, now say one more thing like that, and I'm going to drop you in front of everyone in here, and no one's going to think anything bad of it, which was true. But you don't go off and shoot and kill someone over it. Now, I've given you my thoughts on it. I've given you the a little bit of the logical side of it. I can go much deeper into it, but I said I want to keep this yap session short, especially on this topic. Now I'm going to give you my feelings on it because my thoughts are completely different than my feelings. Here's my feelings on it. I don't give a fuck. He died. He was killed. Lots of people died. Lots of people were killed. The thing about it, you guys can say I'm cold for saying it, but here's the reality of it. I didn't know him. He played no part in my life. We probably would not have been friends. If we were, it would have been one of those things where it's like maybe we could have had healthy debates, maybe, but that's an if and a maybe. I didn't know him. Nothing he said or did touched me. Nah. We weren't friends. We never shared a drink together. We didn't have lunch together. I didn't know his mama, his daddy, his baby's mama, mama's drama. I don't care. He's just another person who died. That's the truth. That's my feelings on it. Not once have we spoken on Discord, on X, had a phone call. Eh, people have a right to feel that way about it. That's just the fact. It's just the same with like people create these parasocial relationships with celebrities and things like that. I've never done that. Now I can tell you that it's like, damn, that's a shame. That's a shame. Kobe, he died. Sad. Young man still. Family, all those good things. Did a lot of good. His community, great basketball player. I actually watched him, for years. But we didn't have a personal connection. When he died, I think, yeah, that was kind of, it was a sentimental situation because it's like, damn, that's like a lot of people's favorite basketball player. There's a slight parasocial relationship there. Charlie Kirk, eh, eh, shit. That day, children in the school were shot and killed. Children. I feel way worse for them, way worse, because they were children. Didn't know a single one of them. Had never been in contact with that school, anything like that. But I actually feel way worse for them because they were at the beginning of their lives. Him, he had made choices. He was a grown ass man. Oh well. And you know what? Here's my thing on it. Anyone watching this later on when it gets thrown on YouTube after I cut it out of the full live stream, Even if you comment on the live stream, here's the situation. Take your feelings out of the situation. Go ahead and let me know what you thought as far as what I said. Let me know how you feel about what I said and change my mind.